The Taiwan Strait, a narrow waterway separating mainland China from the island nation of Taiwan, simmers with tension. This seemingly innocuous strip of water represents a geopolitical powder keg. Its fate holds the potential to spark a conflict with global ramifications. China claims Taiwan as its own, a breakaway province that must be reunited with the mainland. Taiwan, meanwhile, asserts its independence, clinging fiercely to its democratic identity. This delicate standoff has persisted for decades. However, recent events have pushed the region to a tipping point. Chinese military activity around Taiwan has increased dramatically. This includes frequent incursions into Taiwan's air defense identification zone and aggressive naval exercises. These actions are a clear signal. Beijing is sending a message. The question is, will this message escalate into outright conflict? The world watches with bated breath. The stakes couldn't be higher. A conflict between China and Taiwan wouldn't be a localized affair. It could easily spiral into a global conflagration, drawing in major powers like the United States. The potential consequences are staggering, threatening to upend the existing world order. The future, it seems, hangs precariously in the balance. The question is not if, but when, this tense standoff might boil over. Understanding China's perspective is crucial to grasping the gravity of the situation. China views Taiwan not just as a territorial dispute, but as an issue of national sovereignty and a historical wrong that needs righting. The Chinese Communist Party sees reclaiming Taiwan as integral to its legitimacy and its vision of national rejuvenation. China's strategies towards Taiwan are multifaceted. Beijing utilizes a blend of military pressure, economic coercion, and diplomatic isolation to achieve its goals. The aim is to weaken Taiwan's resolve and international standing, making reunification, whether through peaceful means or by force, more likely. China's recent military modernization program is particularly concerning. The People's Liberation Army, PLA, has been rapidly developing advanced weaponry, including hypersonic missiles and aircraft carriers. These developments suggest China is preparing for a potential conflict, bolstering its capabilities to deter or defeat any attempt by foreign powers to intervene. China's ambitions extend beyond Taiwan. Beijing seeks to reshape the regional and global order, challenging the United States' long-standing dominance. Taiwan is just one piece in this much larger geopolitical puzzle. The world is witnessing a power shift of seismic proportions, and the Taiwan Strait is the epicenter of this tectonic change. The United States finds itself in a precarious position. Washington has long maintained a policy of strategic ambiguity regarding Taiwan. This means that while the U.S. supports Taiwan's self-defense capabilities, it remains deliberately vague about whether it would intervene militarily if China attacked. This ambiguity is meant to deter China while avoiding provoking them. However, recent statements by U.S. President Joe Biden seem to signal a shift towards a more assertive stance. Biden has stated that the U.S. has a commitment to defend Taiwan. This departure from long-standing policy has raised eyebrows in Beijing and sparked debate among policymakers and analysts. Some argue that a clear commitment to defend Taiwan is necessary to deter Chinese aggression. Others warn that it could increase the risk of miscalculation and lead to an unwanted conflict. The stakes are incredibly high, and any misstep could have catastrophic consequences. The prospect of a war over Taiwan spiraling into a global conflict is a chilling thought, yet one that cannot be ignored. The involvement of major powers like the United States, Japan, and Australia, all of whom have security commitments in the region, could escalate the conflict beyond the Taiwan Strait. China, for its part, would likely view any intervention by these countries as a direct challenge to its core interests. This scenario has the potential to trigger a chain reaction, drawing in other countries and alliances, turning a regional conflict into a global conflagration. The world has witnessed this before, with devastating consequences. The two world wars of the 20th century serve as stark reminders of how quickly seemingly localized conflicts can spiral out of control, engulfing entire continents in flames. The interconnectedness of the modern world, with its complex web of alliances, economic dependencies, and globalized media, makes the possibility of a global conflict even more plausible. A war between China and Taiwan, therefore, is not just a regional concern, it is a global threat that demands the attention and concern of every nation. Global fallout. the economic and geopolitical shockwaves. The ramifications of a conflict in the Taiwan Strait would extend far beyond the battlefield. The global economy, already grappling with numerous challenges, would be thrown into disarray. Taiwan, often referred to as the Silicon Shield, is a technological powerhouse and a vital link in the global supply chain. It is the world's leading producer of semiconductors, essential components for everything from smartphones to advanced weaponry. A conflict would disrupt these supply chains, leading to shortages and price hikes across a wide range of industries. The global economy, already reeling from the COVID-19 pandemic and geopolitical uncertainties, would face a severe shock. The ripple effects would be felt worldwide, impacting businesses and consumers alike. Beyond the economic fallout, the geopolitical landscape would be irrevocably altered. A war in the Taiwan Strait would shatter the existing world order, eroding trust in international institutions and norms. The post-World War II international system, already under strain, could crumble entirely. The world would be left grappling with the consequences of a conflict that reshaped the balance of power and ushered in a new era of uncertainty and instability. Taiwan's tech tightrope, a global chip shortage. Taiwan's outsized role in the global semiconductor industry adds another layer of complexity to the already tense situation. Semiconductors, also known as microchips, are the brains of modern electronics, powering everything from smartphones and computers to cars and advanced military hardware. Taiwan, home to Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC, the world's largest contract chip maker, dominates global semiconductor production. This dominance has become a double-edged sword for Taiwan. On the one hand, it gives Taiwan a significant economic advantage and a degree of leverage in international affairs. On the other hand, it makes Taiwan a critical strategic asset, potentially drawing it into the crosshairs of great power competition. A conflict in the Taiwan Strait would have immediate and far-reaching consequences for the global tech industry. Disruptions to semiconductor production in Taiwan would send shockwaves through global supply chains, leading to shortages and delays across a wide range of industries. The automotive, consumer electronics, and defense industries, all heavily reliant on Taiwanese semiconductors, would be particularly hard hit. The potential economic and technological fallout underscores the global significance of the Taiwan issue. It is not merely a regional dispute, but a matter of international concern with the potential to disrupt the global economy and reshape the technological landscape. The nuclear nightmare, a terrifying possibility. Perhaps the most terrifying aspect of a potential conflict in the Taiwan Strait is the specter of nuclear escalation. While all sides involved understand the catastrophic consequences of nuclear war, the risk of miscalculation or unintended escalation cannot be ignored. China, a nuclear-armed power, has repeatedly stated that it would not rule out the use of force to achieve its objectives regarding Taiwan. While this statement is likely intended as a deterrent, it raises serious concerns about the potential for nuclear weapons to be used in a conflict scenario. The United States, also a nuclear power, has a security commitment to Taiwan. While Washington maintains a policy of strategic ambiguity regarding its response to a Chinese attack on Taiwan, it is unclear how the U.S. would respond if deterrence failed. The risk of nuclear escalation is further complicated by the presence of other nuclear-armed states in the region, such as Russia and North Korea. A conflict in the Taiwan Strait could potentially draw these states into the fray, either directly or indirectly, increasing the risk of miscalculation and unintended consequences. The potential for a nuclear conflict, however remote, is a stark reminder of the stakes involved in the Taiwan issue. Amidst the escalating tensions and military posturing, diplomacy often takes a back seat. However, dialogue and diplomacy remain the most viable path toward a peaceful resolution of the Taiwan issue. Unfortunately, communication channels between China and Taiwan have deteriorated in recent years, making meaningful dialogue increasingly challenging. China has suspended official communication with Taiwan, accusing the Taiwanese government of pursuing independence. Taiwan, for its part, has accused China of bullying and intimidation, refusing to engage in talks under duress. The international community has a crucial role to play in facilitating dialogue and reducing tensions. Multilateral forums such as the United Nations can provide a platform for dialogue and confidence-building measures. Third-party mediation, involving respected international figures or organizations, could also help bridge the divide between China and Taiwan. The alternative, a conflict with potentially catastrophic consequences, is simply unacceptable. The Taiwan issue is playing out against a backdrop of shifting global alliances and realignments. The United States, long the dominant power in the Asia-Pacific region, is facing increasing challenges to its hegemony from a rising China. China, emboldened by its economic and military might, is seeking to reshape the regional order in its favor. This power shift has led to a realignment of alliances in the region. Countries in the Indo-Pacific are hedging their bets, strengthening ties with either the United States or China, depending on their strategic calculations and perceived interests. The Philippines, a long-standing U.S. ally, has drifted closer to China under President Rodrigo Duterte. Vietnam, wary of China's assertiveness in the South China Sea, has strengthened ties with the United States. These shifting alliances complicate the already delicate situation in the Taiwan Strait. They highlight the fluidity of the geopolitical landscape and the challenges of navigating this complex web of relationships. The Taiwan issue, therefore, is not just a bilateral issue between China and Taiwan, but a regional and global concern with the potential to reshape the balance of power in the Asia-Pacific and beyond. While the geopolitical and economic implications of a conflict in the Taiwan Strait are significant, it is crucial to remember the human cost of conflict. War, in all its forms, brings unimaginable suffering, displacement, and loss of life. A conflict in the Taiwan Strait would be no different. Millions of people in Taiwan and mainland China would be caught in the crossfire, their lives upended by violence and destruction. The human toll of such a conflict would be immeasurable. Beyond the immediate casualties, a conflict would have long-lasting consequences for the region's stability and prosperity. The scars of war run deep, often taking generations to heal. A conflict in the Taiwan Strait would not only devastate the lives of those directly involved, but would also cast a long shadow over the region's future, hindering its economic development and social progress. The human cost of conflict is a stark reminder of the importance of pursuing peaceful solutions to international disputes. The Taiwan Strait stands as a critical flashpoint in international relations. The escalating tensions between China and Taiwan, fueled by historical grievances, nationalistic sentiments, and great power competition, have created a powder keg that could ignite with devastating consequences. The potential for miscalculation, unintended escalation, and the involvement of major powers makes the situation particularly volatile. The global community cannot afford to ignore the risks posed by the Taiwan issue. Diplomacy, dialogue, and de-escalation are essential to prevent a conflict that would have far-reaching implications for regional and global security. The international community must urge both sides to exercise restraint, engage in meaningful dialogue, and seek peaceful solutions to their differences. The stakes are simply too high to allow this issue to spiral out of control. The world is watching, hoping that wisdom and restraint will prevail. The future of the Taiwan Strait, and indeed the peace and stability of the Asia-Pacific region, hang in the balance. It is a precarious balance, one that demands the attention and concerted efforts of the entire international community.